Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Universally Epic Podcast, your go to Universal Orlando trip planning podcast. I'm your host, Jim Klein, and in today's show, we will discuss Sapphire Falls Resort, Isle of Berk, and also give some ideas on what we would like a VIP tour to look like at Epic Universe, which opens May 22nd, 2025. And to help me out, I have a first time guest, a friend, and a colleague. She has been with the Magic for Less Travel for 13 years, Audie Lawley. Hi, Audie, how are you?
Hey Jim, I'm doing well. How
Very
about
good,
you?
very good. Um, so thank you so much for coming on. Uh, Time out of
Of
your
course.
busy schedule. Um, so what I like to do with first guests is kind of give a little background on like how you got into Universal in the first place. Obviously, you're a travel agent, so that's part of your job. But when did you start taking interest in visiting Universal Orlando?
Well, we started visiting Orlando in general back in the 90s. And we went primarily to Disney World. And then as our kids got older, um, they wanted to explore Universal. Um, and then our son, when he was a senior in high school, our son, who is now, 37, was a senior in high school. They did one of the marching things, their band from high school did one of the marching events at Universal, and he came home just over the top crazy about it. And it wasn't too long after that that I started to think through, well, maybe we should go. And so we went and visited, and we liked it. And I'm not a big thrill rider. And so I did a lot of bench sitting way back in the early
Hmm.
2000s. But then when we became travel agents in 2008, it naturally comes back on the radar because of its proximity to Walt Disney World. But way back then, it was more of a one day destination and a Floridian big deal. But it is definitely morphed into
Oh
so
my
much more. And so now we try to go often, at least once or twice a year, just to see it and stay in touch. And because there's nothing like experience to help your guests. So we enjoy
Yeah,
it.
Universal is great because it's so like contained. I feel like everything is so close. Everything it's so easy to get around. Yeah, I remember going back in the '90s when I was a kid. It was like it was right when I was leaving, like or getting into high school, and it was like a whole nother place, right? Because I grew up going to
Yeah.
Disney, and then when you hit Universal as you're getting a little older, you're like, wow, this is a lot different. And back then they had like the Nickelodeon
Hmm.
studios. You remember that? That was so much
Hmm.
fun back in the day.
Hmm.
And you take the studio there, that was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Um, yeah, so we're gonna talk today about one of your favorite resorts, Sapphire Falls Resort. This is part of the signature collection at Universal. The caveat there is that it does not give you express pass when you stay there, um, which might help because it keeps the cost I think a little bit lower. Um, but it is
Hmm.
a deluxe feel resort at a reasonable price. So why don't you give me like just a little overview of like what persuades you to go to Sapphire Falls? Like, why is that like one of your top resorts that you like to visit?
The year it opened, we did an agency AEP at Universal Orlando, and Sapphire Falls was the place that was, it was brand new, and so I really wanted to stay there, and we did. And when we walked into that lobby, I was just awed by that big, beautiful, open, airy, brightly colored lobby, the friendliness, the ease to which you can access things. They have an incredible pool. Um, I love the dining options there. But it was the rooms that really captivated me. Those colors are calming and relaxing. It's a great disconnect from the park. And so it's not one of those overly active things. And so, like, when you get back to your resort and when you get back to your room, you really can just calm down, have a relaxing time. Um, and like you mentioned, I really feel like this resort has a very luxurious yet casual feel to
Yeah,
it. And the water
yeah.
taxis. I
The,
mean,
the lobby
I
the
love
lobby
those
alone
things.
is amazing. When you walk in there, it's so
Mhm.
huge and so open. It's gorgeous, with the lights up top and everything. It's just so nice. And then you have like Stromwater Tavern right off the lobby there. You have those huge windows looking out into the water. Like it's so nice. That resort is deceptively large. It's got a convention area to it. Um, that if you're walking over from Aventura, like you could kind of like walk right into the convention area,
Yep.
and it's a huge space in there. And most likely, there's not that many people over there, so it's kind of a really quiet area to like walk around as well. And then also the staircase, that spiral staircase that they have going down to the lower level, like where you catch the water taxi over to the city walk. Man, I don't know how many pictures I took in there. You stand in the middle, you shoot up, you shoot down. Like it is incredible. It's a gorgeous resort. Um, yeah, I've had some guests stay at Sapphire Falls, and they feel it's like a deluxe resort. Um, some have been bummed out that there is an express pass because it feels so nice, but that's just how it is. You can't really change that.
Right.
Um, but so when it comes to there's a lot of obviously amenities here. Let's start with Strongwater Tavern because I think it's such a nice looking, like it's more of a lounge type feel to it rather than like a full service restaurant
Right.
with like small bites, and there's like a plenty of drinks and stuff that you can get there. Have you been?
Yes, we have. So, we are avid cruisers. We love to cruise, and so the theming of this particular resort was attractive with the Caribbean flair to it. Um, and so when we first went into the staircase, for one, so when you get in the lobby and you look over to the right in the corner, you think your mind automatically goes to like, is this a shore excursion? Because it looks like an old part of a castle or a fortress, which is very common in the Caribbean. But then as you begin to climb down that staircase, you know that this is not going to be like a dusty old ruins that they've created this space to look like. It really is just this beautiful, modern, yet themed so beautifully to look like you're on a shore excursion in the Caribbean. It's beautiful. And then you could do rum tastings, and they've got all these different kinds of rums with a lot of different flavors. I know we've been there during the holidays, and we had this rum concoction that I'm telling you, you took a sip and you felt like you were drinking Christmas. It was just amazing. And so they do all these different seasonal things with the rum as well. And like you said, they have the small plates, and so it's really kind of one of those places you can just hang out um, and enjoy the ambiance and
Oh, it's a nice little spot after like a park day to go and relax and have a light bite and just have a drink or something. Also, the other I'm gonna mess up the name of it. Amistisa,
Amatista.
Amatista. There we go. I knew I was gonna mess it up the whole time. I'm like trying to practice in my head, and I knew I was gonna mess that up. So that
It is actually my favorite restaurant on property.
I believe it because it is gorgeous in there. It's bright. It's really really nice, and it's got a unique menu. Um, Breakfast they have a buffet, but also it's not
Hmm.
only just a buffet. You can order a la carte as well. So like that kind of like
Yep.
is nice option for you that you don't have to get the buffet. Also, and then for lunch and dinner they have like Caribbean inspired dishes for that. Um, so what have you eaten there? Like what's the
So we have done the traditional Caribbean food. We've done the jerk chicken. We've done the rice and peas. We've done the steak that has the jerk flavoring on it. My favorite though there is the hamburger. They have the best burger at Universal, hands down, at Amatistas because it has it's got different flavorings to it. It's got different spices that they use in the actual hamburger, and it's really really good.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to try that next time I go because that sounds really good. I like the seasoned burger. Like a little different seasoning is definitely
Hmm.
that's a nice little touch. Um, so and then also obviously we have to talk about this part of the resort, the pool, right? The pool is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and would have like a little sand beach on the one side. It's really nice. It's really gorgeous. Yeah, like
And it's big.
yeah, and they have cabanas that you can rent. And
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah, like you said, it's huge. It's absolutely a massive pool. Um, yeah, I looked it up. It's a 16,000 square foot pool. Like that's rather
Yes.
large. Yeah, it's got a water slide. It's got fire pits around it. It's really nice. It's a really nice um, pool. I think honestly, I like the pools at Universal a lot. Like they do put a lot of time and effort into it, except for the place that I stayed at, Aventura. That one, I'm sorry, it's just not.
That one's just a pool.
It's literally we need a pool for this hotel, and this is where we can fit it
Mm-hmm.
because it Aventura does put up like it is a lot in a little space, but you also have
Mm-hmm.
pool hopping available to you if you stay on property. So like you can use that
Yes.
bit, it's so it's not that terrible. Um, but yeah, that pool over at Aventura was, it's tiny. It's a tiny little pool. It serves its purpose, but that's definitely a place where you would go like if you're just going to the parks, and you don't care about the pool.
There's pools at the hotels at Universal that they're just pools. But then there are some of the pools that are part of the experience. When Sapphire Falls to me is one of those pools that's a part of the experience. It's got this really amazing rock work that goes on around it. Um, it's pretty easily accessed from any part of that resort. So you don't ever feel like you're a long haul away from the pool. So it's easy for families to get to. It does have the cabanas. It has a lovely play area. It has a slide. And so it has a whole lot more than just a pool. There's dining not far. You can access drinks and sodas, juice, whatever you need for your family. It's all just right there. But my favorite part is that from most of there's this beautiful giant waterfall um, that's just outside of the main lobby, sort of where you go to the water taxi. There's this gorgeous big waterfall, and from most places outside you can hear it. Well, you can hear it from the pool. Um,
Oh, that's
yeah, and so it's like this added layer of ambiance at the pool. So you kind of feel like you're in the tropics by the look of the pool area and all of those things. They do have life jackets for littles as well that are there for you. There's lifeguards and the hours are posted. And so it's a really nice environment for families. And as you were mentioning, on-site guests have got pool hopping privileges. And it's very easy to do that. So like a lot of the guests at Aventura will come over to Sapphire Falls because it's a big enough pool. Um,
yeah,
and you just stop at the
it's
front
like
desk, you show
a
them
bit.
your room key to the resort you're staying in, and you can hop. And it gives you the
Very
access
simple
to the
process.
pool at the other resorts. And so in this case, it would be a pool key for Sapphire Falls.
Yeah, it's a very easy process. It's a nice little added benefit for staying on property. Um, hold on one second. You just hear an echo. Okay, I think I got it. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that is a nice added benefit for staying on property is the pool hopping. Another thing about Sapphire Falls that I definitely want to bring up, especially if you're staying at Aventura as well, is the water taxi that's there. So when I stayed at Aventura, I would walk over to Sapphire Falls almost every time we wanted to go to City Walk.
The water taxi is amazing. I love that system because it's very relaxing. And like you take a water taxi directly to your resort. So, like there's a water taxi available in Walt Disney World in the Epcot area. But for the most part, I mean, it's like a forever ride because it stops
Yep.
at multiple resorts. Well, here at Universal, they've got those direct water taxis. And I think sometimes in some seasons when it's not as peak travel season as others, um, Sapphire Falls will share with Lowe's World Pacific, and the same for over on the other side of that waterway where it's Portofino Bay and Hard Rock. But when it's a peak season, they're direct, which I think is phenomenal, just phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. It's nice to have your own separate boat. Also, like the security is right there before you get on the boat. So once you get off that boat on the other side, you're good to go. Like you're ready to go in the parks. There's no hold up at all. Even if you walked from Sapphire Falls, like which if you want your steps in for the day, which you're going to get in the parks anyway. But yeah, like you could walk from Sapphire Falls to City Walk, and when you get closer to there, there's a security check-in that's very,
Hmm.
very mild in terms of how busy it gets. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I love the security being right there because it's so nice, especially like I said, staying at Aventura. If you were to take the boat or the bus over, you get dropped off at City Walk, and then you with everybody else that's coming in from the parking garages, which I'm telling you, the security at Universal does go really, really fast. Like
they do.
it's very, very efficient. So it's not that big a deal. But you might as well take a nice boat ride, right? And they have music playing. It's nice. It's a nice little ride. And then you kind of get like when you're when the boat's coming in from that side, you're getting like a preview of like Islands of Adventure. So you're kind of getting like super excited, and then then it opens up to City Walk, and it's a great feeling, right? Like it's
Yeah.
so nice when you just got to get the camera out again, and you're just videoing your little boat ride because now you're seeing everything. It's so nice. I love the boats over there.
I think that's one of the things that's so attractive about Universal Orlando is that it really is like this little self-contained area. So whether you walk, it's this lovely, pleasant walk, and you might hear some traffic, but you never like see the traffic. You don't see the busyness. You're kind of still in your little bubble of vacation. Um, and the walks are pleasant. Even in the summer, it's shaded, it's landscaped, it's really not a bad walk.
No, it's
Um, no, and then like you said, there is security before you go in, but then once you work your way through that security, which never takes very long, you're done. I mean, you're done with security, and then water taxis again, so pleasant. It's just a real relaxing, comfortable way to travel. And then even when you have to do the buses, when you end up doing the shuttle buses, they do drop you off in City Walk in that transportation area. Um, but even then, it's kind of exciting because like you go up this giant escalator, the escalator that looks like it's going nowhere because it's just going up, 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 up. And then when you get off, it's kind of like you're funneled through the excitement of this part of City Walk. I mean, the dining, and there's some fun shops, and there's big like Times Square marquee things, and so it's just this real energy, and then bam, you open up to where you see the two parks, and
yeah.
so I think Universal has really captured well different ways to wow you as you get to where their park areas are.
I agree. Like it is a very great reveal when you walk into the City Walk
Hmm.
area. And I'm actually looking forward to like how it's going to be over at Epic when you're gonna either get off the bus or like it's going to be so nice. It's going to be such a cool experience, and I can't wait to see what they do over there as well. And even the walking paths from the new hotels, like we talked about two new hotels last week on the
Hmm.
episode. But yeah, it's going to be really nice, and and it's going to be like a big reveal because it's going to be that's what they do, and then they do it really
Yeah.
well. So right now, what we're going to do is we'll take a break before getting into our Epic Universe discussion. So everybody, just stay right there, and we will be right back. The Universally Epic podcast is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel, a Universal You Preferred travel agency. If you are looking to plan your next Universal Orlando vacation, let's do it together. As a certified Universal specialist, I can help guide you through the planning process with helpful tips and tricks along the way. The best part, all my travel planning services are absolutely free to you. And when you book your Universal Orlando vacation with me, you qualify for an exclusive booking bonus offer from the Magic for Less Travel. A $25 Universal gift card for all vacation packages over $2,500. Ready to start planning? Email me at jim.klein@themagicforless.com to start planning your next epic Universal vacation. Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to get into talking about Epic Universe right now. And we're going to talk about I keep saying it on the podcast, I think an underrated land that is coming to Epic Universe, Isle of Berk. It's the How to Train Your Dragon portion of the park. Um, it's one of those things that I didn't think I wanted in Epic, but after seeing all the concept art, I think I do want to go there. So, and I'm getting kind of excited about it, especially with the kids. So what is your first? What was your first impression when you heard that Isle of Berk was going to be one of the like the 4 or 5 main worlds at Epic Universe?
Well, I was personally very excited. Um, so, How to Train Your Dragon movies were one that our grandkids loved, loved, loved when they were little. It was like their first movie. All five of them just said, got into. They played it. They all had a toothless. They all, played the movies and had the little toys, and a couple of them went as toothless for Halloween a couple of years, and so it was the movie they all were kind of very attracted to, and so it's always had a really special place for me. But that whole I mean, those movies to begin with are incredible. There's so much detail and depth to the story. I know the last one, it's always the last one in the sequels that people say is the worst. But I thought all the movies and the stories were great. I liked the way they wrapped it up. And it was one of those animated movies that viewers of all ages could relate to in some way or another. And so when they announced that they would be doing Isle of Berk, I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a home run because this story has so much depth. There's so much they could do with this story. And knowing how Universal has just done such a great job on improving what they do well, and just keep taking it to, just keep raising that bar to the next level. Um, I think back to when they announced Mario World at Hollywood, Universal Hollywood. And I thought, well, that's a big thing to try to bring to life a video game like that. But it is an amazing, absolutely amazing space. You don't have to know the Mario games to really be enthralled by Mario World. So when they announced this one, I thought, ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see how they bring Toothless to life. I can't wait to see what rides they incorporate into this. And I think this is going to be the hidden gem of this particular park.
I agree 100%. I really do because it has like the most packed into a land out of
Yep.
every other land, and nobody wants to talk about. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, Super Mario, with Super Nintendo World, with like Donkey Kong Country, it's gonna be awesome. Like that's gonna be, and it's in these two lands, the Mario and the Isle of Berk. It's like that. It's. I think I mentioned on a previous episode where it's kids themed, but not kiddie. I always like to say it like that. Like it's
Yeah.
not too young, so it's like that perfect age when you're like when you're first starting to bring your kids to Universal. It seems where it's going to be like perfect for like that introductory thrills for your kids. Like I think it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. I think I know my kids. My kids aren't like the biggest thrill seekers, but they could deal with a small roller coaster. My daughter more so that she could deal with a lot more. But um, but yeah, like all these rides seem like it's very like attainable for a young child to get on, and
Yeah.
they're gonna feel amazing afterwards. Like it's gonna be so much fun. So when you come through the land, like when you go through the portal, the first thing you notice in that flyover that they released is like all the kinetic energy that is
Hmm.
happening in this land, the roller coasters, all the rides. Like it's so nice and it's green space. It looks phenomenal. Water features. There's a water ride, not ride like in terms of you're getting wet, but
Yeah.
like it looks amazing. What I want to do is let's go through some of the attractions here. We'll give a little like, you know, what we think are probably some of the go. I think they're all going to be like top
Hmm.
notch rides. To be honest, when you look at them, the first one is Hiccup's Wing Gliders. So this is the
Yep.
family coaster, and what I love about this one is that it goes through the entire land. So like you're kind of just on a coaster going around Isle of Berk. It looks amazing, and you're dipping and diving through other attractions. It looks so much fun, and it's a family coaster, so very very like family friendly. Everybody can go on it, and I think that's going to be one kid. I can't see this line being very
No,
short because it looks an amazing
no.
ride.
And I thought that, well, the concept art for that one, the pods that you sit in, it's gonna, hopefully for kids, it's gonna feel like they're riding the dragon, which I think is just gonna
Yes.
be thrilling
Yep.
for little ones. And like you said, you know, when you're adult and you go to the parks with other adults, it's about the ride. But when you're a parent and you go with your kids, or you're a grandparent like us who travel with our grands a lot, um, it's the experience for you personally takes a back seat because it's all about watching them experience it. And so I think this is going
Yep.
to be one of those
Agree.
ones where it's just going to be a thrill for parents and grandparents to watch their kiddos experience the ride. It looks so fun.
Yeah, it'll be
Mm-hmm.
an amazing like shared experience for the whole family. It's going to be really nice. Um, our next one is the Dragon Racers Rally. So this one is a pendulum style ride where you're on a dragon, and it kind of you could do barrel rolls, you could spin. This one looks like it's more of the older kid type. So okay, so think of like your old
Yes.
carnival like pirate ship going back and forth, but it's just one arm and it's spinning you around and you're tumbling, and it looks like a thrill, but I could see where kids may have a little hesitancy because it goes pretty
Yes.
high, it
Yeah.
seems.
I think this is going to be that one that, you know, your thrill seeking little ones, your daredevils are going to ride with you. But other than that, it's going to be some of the more experienced park goers that are going to jump on this one.
Yeah,
But it looks so fun too, though. I don't know that I'm going to ride it because
it does.
I'm kind of a scaredy cat. But again, I love to watch the kids
That's
do the ride, so it'll be fun.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like you said, it's definitely for the
Hmm.
thrill seeking children. Um, But you never know. I would go on the wing glider coaster first, and then get them like adjusted to the thrill, and then maybe you have a chance of getting your more timid kid on this Dragon Rally
Yeah.
Racers Rally. So, um, and now the next one, honestly, I'm looking forward to more, and it looks like probably the biggest kiddie ride of them all is Fire Drill. It's called spelled FYRE, Fire Drill. This is an interactive
Yeah.
water gun ride. So you're on these little boats and you're shooting water guns at targets, and this looks like a blast. I love interactive, like arcade style attractions. It is so much fun, and every single family loves it. Like it's so I love them, and I know I'm gonna love this one probably more than my children will. But I need to bring them on so I don't look weird on the boat. You know?
Right. Um, you know, the favorite rides with families and little ones at theme parks and other places are those ones where you do ride through and you get to shoot and do things like that. And so when you're a participant in the ride, um, it's a different kind of fun because you get to you're not being entertained, you're a part of the entertainment. And these look great. I think it's a great way because it's going to feel like a water park ride, I think. But you're not going to get wet.
Yeah.
You know, our grandkids love the water rides where you get wet. They absolutely love them. But then they're miserable when they get off because they stay wet for so long. And so this looks like it's going to be one of those ones that you're going to get that fun of being a part of a water ride, but you're not going to get off of it drenched
Yeah,
and
which is
brilliant.
great. Which is great because there's nothing worse than being wet in like 100% humidity in Orlando is the worst
Oh,
feeling.
and we were at Disney
Um,
World last week. Our little granddaughter, I mean, it was cold in Florida last week, and our little granddaughter wanted to ride the Cali River Rapids, and it was like, really? And so, you know, I did the unthinkable. I went and bought four rain ponchos at, $12 a pop just to ride the one ride. I thought, well, it's cheaper than the Lightning Lane, and and we can
yeah,
still,
true. Yep.
just ride. And we still got a little wet, but it was the only way. It's the only way this old grandma could tolerate it.
It worked. Yeah, that worked. You came in
Hmm.
clutch there. I gotta say, that's bravo to you because that's amazing. That's a
But
great
I don't
story.
feel like when I look at this ride, the fire ride, I don't think you're going to need a rain poncho. I mean, I think you're going to be able to go.
No, I don't.
It'll be nice and refreshing in the summer, and it'll still be one you can ride when it's chilly in Orlando, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, it looks like you don't even get
Mm-mm.
wet at all. Like it just like you're kind of
Yeah,
behind the water
yeah,
of the guns and everything, and so that'll be yeah, it'll be definitely more
yes.
approachable too. Um, so the next attraction, now we get into like different. Those are like the three rides that they have. That we call like rides. They have a Viking training camp, which is like a kids play area. Looks amazing. I'm sure every kid's gonna love it. Um, there's bridges and your usual play area, just themed to how do you train
Hmm.
your dragon. Um, and then you have the show that's going to be there is the Untrainable Dragon. Now this one is going to be, I feel, a huge success. It looks so much fun. You have dragons on the stage, and then to boot, you have Toothless is going to fly over the audience, and it's going to have a wingspan of
It's
27 feet.
crazy.
That's
The
insane.
puppetry, just the idea, the puppetry of what's going into that blows my mind. Um, because these
Yeah,
dragons are huge. To bring and what a risk that Universal was so confident in pulling off here, because those dragons were the popular part of that movie, that franchise. It was all of, I mean, like I know my grands could tell me about the dragons quicker than they could tell me about the characters. Um, and so I can't wait to see it. I think this is going to be amazing.
yeah, it's going to be so much fun. Now, I wonder. So, I don't know if you saw this on social media, where Universal was testing like a flying dragon drone. You think that's part of this, or is it just something else?
Yeah,
Have
I
you seen
have,
that?
and I thought the same thing, but I just don't know. Maybe. I think we'll all find out May
Yeah, it just
22nd.
seemed like it was way too high, right? Like, which would be amazing. Like, that'd be crazy if that's part of the show and they're just pumping this thing out like, just like dragon flying around all day long. Like, this would be insane. But yeah, I'm curious as to what they're going to use that drone slash
I know.
dragon for. Um,
I know.
so we'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure if it's for this or something else that they're planning. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is the in Isle of Berk is Mead Hall. So Mead Hall is going to be a quick
Hmm.
service restaurant. This place
Hmm.
looks amazing. Like, so I was looking up and they said that the main entrance doors are going to look like they're 16 feet tall. That's huge. And when you step inside, there's huge, tall ceilings. It looks like you're in a castle almost, and it looks so nice. And we like I've previously mentioned, like we don't have any menus for anything yet. So you got to think that they're going to be obviously there's going to
Right.
be mead there, right? Like you would have to have
Right.
mead at Mead Hall. I'd hope to have like a honey type flavored drink for
That'd be
kids.
great. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
That'd be great.
that
Yeah.
would be a kind of a no brainer for them, where they could do like a souvenir mug with like whatever you want to call it. But it would be like something for just a non-alcoholic version of mead would be very very nice. Um, for like a kid's drink in there because it just seems like that place is going to be packed because it really does look amazing inside.
So so because Isle of Berk is a place that was born in imagination, of course, based on history and some of those things that they can plan it on, but you really don't know what to expect. But knowing how well Universal brought to life the three broomsticks, um, and that area of, I mean, those were all also things that were, born in the land of imagination. I mean, and just knowing how well and what good stewards Universal was with the concept, I have high hopes for Mead hall. I think it's going to be incredible. And I just like over at Three Broomsticks, and the Leaky Cauldron. I think the menu is going to be themed around the the area, and but yet it's going to be those things that are familiar to little. So that those who eat like toddlers are still going to be able to eat like toddlers. It's just going to have a different kind of
Yeah.
flair to it. But like you, I'm really excited to see what they're going to put in there as far as drinks and those special things that make
Yeah.
that connection deeper.
Yeah, it is definitely, and I like that you made the connection between the Three Broomsticks and Leaky Cauldron because it does have
Mhm.
that feel to it when you look at the concept art. It has that like big open like old
Yeah,
feel to it, and it's going to be very very cool to
yeah,
walk in there.
I think so.
Um, yeah. So that's Isle of Berk. All the attractions and a restaurant coming to Isle of Berk, um, to Epic Universe. Um, you know, it seems like this is going to be a perfect kids area, especially those like mid range kids. I'm going to say like 6 to 12, right? Like that seems like it would be like that's what who they're targeting here. And then the parents are just going to have a ton of fun just because they're bringing their kids in there.
Well, keep in
Um,
mind too, though,
so
it's those teenagers too, the 12 to 18-year olds who grew up with Toothless. I mean, that's
true,
how old those movies are
very
now.
true.
And so I think there's going to be some, you know how it is when the cool teenagers go on vacation with their parents. You get them to the theme parks and they turn into kids
Yep.
again. And I think that
Yeah,
segment
they regress, right?
is going
Yeah.
to really enjoy this park because it's going to be like taking them back to their childhood because they were littles when these movies
Yep.
came out.
You're right. Yep, you're right. And I think there is a new movie coming
Oh,
out as
yay.
well. Um, yeah, I think there is. Who was I on with? I was on with Laura. She had mentioned that she saw a preview when she went to go see
Oh,
Wicked.
sweet. I
Um,
love the Toothless franchise. I
so
think it's a
that
great one.
obviously that's gonna explode too because of everything else that's going on. They're releasing everything very methodically, which is kind of
Yeah.
very cool to see. Um, all right, so our next topic that we're gonna get into is VIP tours. So I know you've taken a few VIP tours over the years. I kind of want to get a little background. Let's start with like a background on VIP tours, and then we're going to get into like what you would like to see a VIP tour look like at Epic Universe. So let's start with like why even take a VIP tour? Let's start there.
So, VIP tours are not for everyone, but I think that's the beauty of a vacation at Universal is because there are so many options that you can truly put together a package that suits your needs, your budget, and what you think your family is going to want to do. Um, why take one depends on why you would want to take one. So there's group VIP tours, and those are set itineraries created by Universal, and they walk you through. It's the top 10 attractions and shows. It includes breakfast and lunch. And it's a small group. I think the largest group is 20, and you have your own private guide who kind of takes you in some backstage areas and kind of takes you through some shortcuts, gives you some interesting tips and information and history about Universal. And that one is a lot of fun. And then they also have private guides. So when I'm talking to a guest, and it's a guest who maybe has a limited budget or has a large family, and they really want to do express passes, but it's a little cost prohibitive for them, and they're staying at one of the resorts that doesn't include um, the express passes. So I'll just actually do the math for them and say, look, depending on what time of the season it is, it can be anywhere between 85 and about $150 more to have just your regular park entrance and add a VIP tour that's a group tour. Um, and so you're guaranteed, I mean, you just walk on to the more popular rides, you get all of those things in, and then your next day or two that you're at the parks, you've already done the fast way. And now you can just kind of enjoy, go back and do what you want to do, and that kind of stuff. The private VIP tour turns out to be, it is more, um, but it is a minimum of five, no more than 11 or 12. I have to look again, but you can have a bigger group. It varies the cost then. But and that's when you create your itinerary. And that's good for somebody who wants to splurge. Like um, for instance, for us, now we've done the group tours when we've gone with the grands, and a lot of that is just when it's just three of us, and so the cost isn't as prohibitive. Um, Maybe we stayed at Universal 2 nights, or one time it was an add-on to a Disney trip. But we knew there were things that we wanted to do, and it was important for us to get our grandchild through those things they wanted to do. So that added expense was worth it. We had just the 1 day park to park ticket, and then we added the VIP tour. That was about 6 hours of our day, and then the rest of the day we still had the express pass access. And so it was wonderful. And it's the unlimited express pass, so we were able to do everything. The grand was able to do those favorite things more than one time, and so it was really a nice way to tour the parks without feeling rushed or pressed to squeeze everything in, because we knew we were going to get those main things done. Um, and then at Universal Hollywood is where we did a private tour. And that time we had our daughter's whole family and us. And so just after crunching the numbers, and Tim is a CPA, so he's a number cruncher, and he crunched the numbers and went, no, 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 we're just going to do the private tour, because it was literally like $7 more per person than the group tour.
Oh,
Yes, and it
jeez.
just made sense mathematically that we had that 1 day to squeeze
Yeah,
everything in. And with the private guide, we were able to do exactly what we wanted to do for as long as we wanted to do it. And it was great. So there at Universal, they make sense number wise, for a lot of families. And that is why they are so popular.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's a really nice feature that they have, like the both the group and
Hmm.
the private. Definitely helps fit into anybody's budget, especially if you are looking into express passes. Express passes, and you're not staying at one of the three hotels that offer it. It's a very big expense if if you want to add it on for multiple days, or even just for 1 day. It could be up to $250 per person. So
Yes.
that's a lot, and so these offer a nice balance, between the express pass and like the group rate, or even the private,
Yeah.
so it's
And I
it's
think what
nice.
makes them
A
so
nice feature that
attractive
they have.
is for a lot of people, Universal is going to be a 1 or a 2 day trip. Um, it is definitely morphing into a multi-day destination, and more people are staying at the resorts. I mean, they're going to Orlando for a Universal vacation. But with the VIP tours, if you're somebody who's doing a split stay, um, it just really makes sense to get everything done in a much more relaxing way. And so we have
Yeah,
done that, and we've also done them in such a way that, I've already mentioned that I'm not a big thrill rider, and so a couple of times Tim's done the VIP tour with one of the grands, and I didn't go because it was all about the thrill rides for the grand. So and again, it's another one of those really good things about Universal, because you can pick and choose, and make things the best for your family, your budget,
yeah,
and the needs of your vacation.
yeah. No, it's perfect. Yeah. um so with that being said, like, what would you want out of a VIP tour at Epic when that opens? Because so I'll go first. Okay, my first thing is a group tour, and it's obviously, like, if anybody's been listening to the podcast, it's a food tour, right? I would love to see. I don't even need to go on rides, right? I want to go to every place, right, and get a little amuse bouche at like the fancy restaurant, right, and maybe a sampling of a drink, and then just bounce around to every single world and get their like signature dish that they have in each world. And maybe we'll stop like the end of the tour will be at the Grand Helios Hotel and you like overlook the park at night would be amazing. And you just have a drink at the lobby bar and have a like a bite to eat at the end. And that's it. Like I don't need to go on anything. Like I would love to go on rides, but like this is just group tour number one is a food tour of all the popular foods at Epic Universe. And I think it would be I would sign up
Oh,
tomorrow.
I would
So
too. That one sounds amazing. Um, and no rides, I would be fine.
yeah. Well you're eating and drinking all day. So like you don't really need the rides. Like you're gonna be having a good time no matter what.
I think for me, the the perfect VIP tour would be the group tours, the ones where you are in a group of 20. Um, they're not tailored to different ages, and so like it's all for one and one for all. I would love for them. The perfect tour for me would be like the thrill ride tour and the family style tour, so that you could pick and choose what worked best for your family. Um, I think at the other two parks, there's not as much that would be attractive to just family types of rides. But this particular park, Universe Epic, I think is going to have enough for that's going to attract non-thrill seekers, that you could do both. And I think that would be the perfect answer for me for Epic. It would be to have kind of a choice in the VIP tour, the group one.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that idea a lot because like we've been talking about it multiple times on this podcast. Like Epic is going to be for
Hmm.
everyone. And you know that old school thinking of how Universal is just for teenagers and adults and thrill seekers, like they're changing that
I
with Epic
agree.
Universe because the balance of the park between child like kids attractions and young adult attractions and thrill seekers. There's so much that they're putting into this park that appeals to an entire family. You're 100% right. Like that would be the best way to go because you would have such a huge demand for families, and then you have the thrill seekers, and then you're not stuck together either. So you could separate that out, and you could just pick and choose, and it would be that would. I love
Yeah.
that idea.
And you
I
know, and
love it.
right here at the beginning, they're going to do just the ticket to Epic too. And so I think a lot of families are going to feel pressed to get everything in. Um, and so I just see it as a golden opportunity to really give fans that experience they want to have those VIP tours ready to roll. And because they're not, like right now, you can't see that far out in the VIP tours. So we don't know what it's going to look like. But I would love it if they would think through how to make them a little, tweak them just a little so that you can have the two different
Yeah, yeah,
style of park goers. Yeah.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah. So that was a great epic um, conversation. Isle of Berk, VIP tours. So that's gonna take us to the end of the show. Audie, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I want you to let everyone know where they can find you if they're looking to book a trip or anything like that. Um, so we're on social or wherever else you want to send them.
Thanks. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's fun. I love to talk about travel with my grands, and I also love to help people plan travel to kind of think through their lens of what their perfect vacation is. Um, so my husband Tim and I both are affiliated with the Magic for Less Travel, and we absolutely love working with our team of agents. You can reach me by email at Lawley LAWLEY at the magic for less. It's all .com, all spelled out. On Facebook, we are Tim and Audie Lawley Landon Cruise Travel Planners, and on Instagram, we are at Lawley Travel. Um, and you will see that we are travel agents who love to travel. So we're gone a lot, seeing the world. So we just enjoy sharing our experience.
Right. So thank you again for coming on. Follow Audie. I'm going to link her sites in the show description. And so, like always, like and follow and subscribe to Universally Epic Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Also, listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, join the Universally Epic Tips and Tricks Facebook group. This episode has been brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. If you have any Universal Orlando trip planning questions or are looking to book your next trip, email me at jim.klein@themagicforless.com. And like always, have an epic week, everybody.
Bye.
Also give you some ideas on what we would like to see a VIP tour look like at Epic Universe. Epic Universe, what is that?